Merry Christmas, Happy Advent, one day closer. So since I have been showing you paper wire, you guys are masters now if you've watched some of the other videos. So we're gonna go one step further. Let's get started. So here's the template that you're gonna get. So in the description of the video, there's gonna be a link. It'll bring you to where this template is if you would like to do him the way I did him. So on this template, you're gonna see this is a Santa you're gonna cut out. This piece for his arm, a tree. Here we have the deer, the sleigh, and the bag, where it shows you the two sets of deer legs, the bottom of the sleigh, even his antlers. Those are gonna be wire formations, and even the stem of the tree. So you wanna cut these pieces out that we're going to put on paper first. What I've done is I've cut these pieces out, and I gave myself a little extra room for the little swirly. This is my sleigh, and I've just put him on there and drawn a pencil mark around the actual sleigh part. This will be extra wire on the end. And you can decide what type of papers you would like to use for each element. But I'm gonna cut them out and trace them on. And the only one that's a little different is the Santa. What I've done is the top half is tan, the bottom half is red. So I just glue sticked a piece of tan to a piece of red paper. Then I just lay this on here, and where this line is, I trace around. So when it comes to doing this project, depending on the colors and what you have, you can use any scraps of paper you happen to have around. You don't need a specific sheet of paper for this. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna do next is where your outlines are, you're going to put glue and you're going to put your paper wire down. A couple of the pieces will have an extra piece hanging off. All the rest, we are just gonna put glue around and put our paper wire around like we've done with our other projects. So I'm just gonna trim the excess so it doesn't pull on this and just let these dry. And this glue does dry clear. This is just an Aleene's tacky glue, so I am not overly concerned with the excess glue. So for several of these pieces, like the tree, the sleigh, the deer, even this cute little arm, we're gonna do it just a little different. We're not just gonna go around. So I traced a tree onto this book paper. I'm gonna put glue around the lines. So I'm just going around the outside of the top of the tree. I'm not putting glue where the stem is. So when I first start this, I'm gonna give myself a tail, the trunk of the tree. So I'll just start right here. You really wanna make sure you start down at the bottom because you're gonna need the excess when you start, and you're gonna have an excess when you end to make your trunk. So I'm just gonna put this aside and let this dry. So when you're doing the deer, you're not gonna have a piece at both ends, just when you start. Leave a tail, literally for his tail, and then you're gonna go all the way around and then finish here. And then when it dries, you're gonna cut around him, but the tail will be hanging off. And same with the sled. I start with an excess at the end, go all the way around the sled, and come back up and finish there. So now, I'm gonna show you how we did the arm. Except for the little hand, I traced the arm onto this red paper, and I'm gonna put glue all the way around where his arm is. Now the rounded part is, of course, his shoulder. So I'm gonna try to get a bend here, but I wanna bring this up, as you can see on here, at about half. Then I'm just gonna go up and down. So when you are forming his arm, make sure when you get to about here, you just pull out a little extra for his hand, that after you cut it out, you can twist it and you're gonna form his hand. So I'm trimming around the outside of the wire. Wait till your glue is dry. I'm just moving the hand up to trim around it. So these other pieces that you do, same thing. I'm gonna wait till they're dry. So I'm gonna cut around this tree. I'm first gonna just cut some of this excess off. So I'm just going to twist these two ends And then when we start putting it all together, you can cut the trunk as short or as long as you would like it. So when you're done gluing them all down, let them dry, and then you can trim them all. So when we have these all cut out, I am going to start here with my sleigh. You're going to see this is the part of the template, and what I did is just cut a piece of wire, and I cut it just a little bigger, and I can always trim that off. These lines here, what I'm going to do is double it like right here, and it is a little longer also. You probably don't need them this long. I know this is going to go about right here, and you can really improvise with this. And all I'm going to do is put it up through here and twist it. I'm just going to twist it, and then I can trim it if I need to, and then I'm going to glue it to the back of the sleigh. You can just line this up to where your sleigh is. And once again, I'm just taking this and twisting this tightly on here so it's not going to move. Okay, so I'm just going to put some glue right in here, and I'll probably trim this excess. And then if you want to, even when this is dry, you could add a little washi tape or something to the back to make sure they don't loosen up at all. So now I'm going to trim this extra piece off. Decide what type of a little swirl or what you would like at the end of your sleigh. Trim the end of this off just a tad bit. And same thing with the front. You can make this swirly as you would like. We have our tree here, and I know this is not going to need to be anywhere near as long as that, so I'm just going to trim some of that off. Let us get to our reindeer. So here's the template. You're going to do 2 sets of these. So all I did was a little circle around a pencil, came up, came down, and made another little circle around a pencil, and then all I do is twist the 2 little ends in to where like the ankle would be. Two sets of legs. And what I'm going to do is just glue them back here. Now, when you do your standing piece, you can either fold them up like this if it's going to be freestanding, or you can still have feet that way. Make sure you're gluing the feet going the right direction. Let's make sure they're the same height. I'm going to trim this little piece off, and I'm just going to have a little piece here for a tail. Now the last thing I'm just going to do is make little antlers. Okay, so for these antlers, I just did little loops. So I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm going to go up, loop it down, go up, it's a little shorter, loop it down, and go up. This one's a little taller like the first one, loop it down, and then just kind of twist this around the bottom. Squish these up a little bit. I am just going to glue it back here to the back of his head. I'm just going to squish this down to make it a little flatter here. Add a little glue. And then you can form the antlers however you would like them. And then you can even move the ears so it moves a little bit, comes out. You know, that's what's fun with this, with the paper, that you can kind of form him and make him a little more 3D. For my package, take a little piece of wire and wrap it around and do a tie when you don't necessarily even have to glue. It's going to make a little tie, a twist, and you can make your ends just as long or as short as you'd like. Okay, let's get our Santa together. So you can see this is how his beard is going to really just right here at this bend and over across where the line is from this red and tan line. And you don't really have to glue the whole thing. I'm just going to put a ridge at the top. I'm also going to glue his hat on. And his hat is going to go down to where the beard is and right up here. Once again, I'm just going to do a little ridge at the edge. And then put the little ball on the end of his hat. I'm just going to twist this hand a little bit more. You just want a little bit of an opening because that's where the reins are going to go through. Because how can you steer the reindeer without reins? Okay, so I am just going to glue this here. here's our sleigh. You can decide how you would like to piece this. So I put the bag behind him, and then all I did is threw the tree out of the back. So I just want to get a visual before I put it all together. Here is this, and then we're going to cut reins. So I'm just going to kind of hold it and glue this in real quick. And then I'm just going to put some glue down in here. And what's fun with this is that you just kind of get the basic idea, and you can just do your own creations and come up with whatever you would like. And I said you can put these pieces anywhere you would like. Or you could just add lots of presents instead of a tree or some other things. So I am going to cut it just a little extra because I can always trim it later. And then all I'm going to do is wrap this around his neck. Just twist it once or twice. I just am going to take these and go through his hand. And then when I'm ready, I'll bring this up exactly where I want it. So let's decoupage the box. And you know, you could even put it on this side and just have stuff in the background, but I really like this. So, and I'm not even gonna paint this because I wanted a darker background anyway, but I am gonna use my Renaissance blueprint. It reminds me of a dark blue sky. This time, I'm gonna use my 1 Hour Enamel clear matte varnish. And I'm just gonna put a nice coat on here. I'm gonna lay this down. I'm gonna try to get some of these edges off to help alleviate the pulling. So I'm just gonna let this dry a little bit, then we're gonna attach all our pieces to the top of this. I wanted them to come up, so I have like these little boxes that I put behind them. If you wanted them flat, you wouldn't need to do this. I am just going to hot glue them to the back. So I'm just going to put some hot glue here. And this will help hold everything down. And I'm just going to go across all these pieces. I'm going to distress some of my pieces now. And you could have done that before you put the back on. And you could do it while you're doing each piece before you glue it together. It's just however you would like to do it. Sometimes I just don't know what I'm going to be doing until I get to that stage and look at it and think, oh my gosh, I think I need a little more. I'm going to go around these edges also. So I'm going to see where I'm going to line him up. And they can come off the board actually if you wanted to. And I'm going to add just a Christmas sentiment. So I wanted to line this up before I add this on here. So since this paper is quite a bit thicker, I'm just going to use my Mod Podge. Just going to glue the sentiment on here. We'll put this about right here. Fun part of about this is you can add anything you would like or nothing at all. Now I am going to seal my board and then we are going to glue him on there. So for this, I'm just going to use my Minwax polyacrylic. It's just a crystal clear. And this will also help move some of my aging and antiquing around. Now your paper may want to bubble up a little bit again when you're getting it wet, but it'll go back down. For this layer, I am actually going to start just doing some fun glittery snow. We need glittery snow. I'm going to set him aside, and then we're going to do the same thing with the Santa. Now that I've decided this is where I want this, make a little knot. And I'm going to trim it just above the knot. You just make your reins however you would like them. So let's seal him. And same thing, this is going to move some of the antiquing. Also, I'll be able to get my fun glitter on this. If you had a spray sealer, that would work really well also. We're just gonna let these dry. We're gonna put them together and we're done. This was dry. I just used a little marker and just put a little dot for each eye and a little bit of red watercolor and just blush their cheeks because you know they're cold out on this cold, snowy night. So all we have left to do now is I'm gonna put hot glue on the back of these and set them on here, and then that's it. So I hope you thought this was fun and it gives you some ideas to do some of your own projects that you come up with some of the concepts. If you do, have fun, Merry Christmas, Happy Advent.